I'm afraid there's still no sign of the spread of this virus slowing. I've kept you up to date with the progressive total every day. We've seen growth rates over 24 hours of 30%, sometimes 40%, 22, 24. Since yesterday afternoon, the number of new infections here has jumped by about another 24%. That's 687 cases now. Although still just 6 dead, and that bit's positive, but the growth rate is a concern. So all that talk from the Prime Minister today and the Tasmanian Premier at the top of the show of people having to go into self-isolation for 2 weeks brings me to some shameful news today and a potential problem. Of course, politicians can talk all they like about people going into self-isolation at home for 2 weeks, but who is checking that they do? For instance, Australian travel writer Ben Groundwater and his family, they flew back in from Italy on Monday. They didn't want to live in Italy anymore when 475 people died there just yesterday alone from the coronavirus. And Groundwater thought, well, at least Australia, island nation, is going to be tough on enforcing its new rule that if you do come in from overseas, you go into self-isolation. And it's true that being from high-risk Italy, they did at least have their temperature checked. But they say others didn't, even people from Italy that they know. And then away all the passengers went, some no doubt to catch a connecting flight interstate. Now it seems that our authorities simply trusted people like them to lock themselves away. And sure, there are big fines if they are found later roaming around the streets or down the shops and clubbing it away, but who is checking? Where, say, are the police? Well, let me tell you where the police are. They are busy with the absolute ferals who are fighting over toilet paper, or they're ramming elderly women with shopping trolleys and punching a worker because there's not enough flour on the shelves. Now they've even been sent to patrol supermarkets to stop brawls, like this one in southwest Sydney. And we've even had the Home Affairs Minister today saying federal police are busy hunting down some of the hoarders who stripped supermarket shelves of essential goods.
Hoarding not for their own consumption. I think they're either sending some of the product overseas or they're selling it in a black market arrangement in Australia. I'm going to come after those people and I'll give them a fair warning now. It won't be a pretty experience when we deal with them, because the Australian Federal Police, the Australian Border Force, New South Wales Police, Victorian Police and elsewhere are onto this at the moment.
Now, all this is so shocking to me and so shameful for Australia. You've got police being sent to deal with people who are acting like utter barbarians at the shops. Every man and woman for themselves. Let me have that pasta before you. Knock you over if you grab the flour. We've got police policing that when we actually need them to help in the war to stop this virus spreading, which is causing all the problems in the first place. They should instead be ringing or knocking at doors to make sure that people in isolation are exactly where they must be for the safety of us all. On the weekend, we even had one woman with the virus found at Hamilton Island, when she should have still been in Sydney in self-isolation. This is such a troubling insight into a lack today of a community spirit. It's a lack that puts us all in danger. And so now is this panic buying at the chemists, which I covered earlier this week, try to calm down, and which the Deputy Chief Health Officer today begged people to stop.
Please do not buy more than you need for anything, whether that's food and particularly medicines. We have a very good system of knowing about medicine shortages in Australia, and in fact it is incumbent on all medicine suppliers that they must tell us if there is a shortage now or shortly into the future, and we have not had that from any of the suppliers. it appears local supply shortages have happened in particular pharmacies. And for that reason, we've been working today very closely with the Pharmaceutical Guild and the PSA to make sure that that matter is dealt with.
So, how much longer before we've got to have police at the chemists as well? And again, not where they are needed, in the front line, making sure this virus does not spread.